I can't say please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. So
Nope, you're ahead of us.
Scout salute. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. 2. I guess that's it.
Thank you, Luca. I appreciate you having the Pledge of Allegiance there. What we've got going tonight is our second virtual roundtable. I won't need this. Now you can hear me. We've got a bunch of things coming up, the announcements, advancements we're going to talk about, home activities, keeping engaged. We are live, right? Though we need to move on the screens.
There you go. Awesome. We're virtually there. Okay.
All right. We're getting close. So last month we had a code for when we do finally get together again, for those who are looking for Scout Bucks. This month we have the grab bag. One thing to make sure is that you have the code. That'll be 514. You have to come and see me. This is, again, when we finally meet live again, whether that'll be June, July, December, we'll see when. But we're going to get together and meet live. Next screen. We have still looking for nominations for District Award of Merit, Spirit of Scouting Award, Scouter of the Year Award, and Godsend Award. These are ways to recognize those in our units who've made a contribution to scouting, to our unit or to the district. It's important we recognize them. Since we all know we do this for a large salary and it's only 1 hour a week, we need to recognize those people for all their effort that they put in. We'll be planning a recognition sometime late September, early fall. We're still playing that in the year because we don't know what's happening down the line either. So get those nominations in. I'd like to see them all in by June 1st so we can act on them on our end. Again, the addresses are all up on there. They're also on our district website. We have summer camp. Sarah.
I'm going to take it, if that's okay.
Okay.
We have the dates of all of our summer camps. You guys heard the governor. We are having summer day camps. They are allowed even right now, but we're not having them right now. So there's been a lot of change to the dates because of the charter organizations or the churches that we've been working with. For safety's sake, we have moved the dates, a lot of them, to later on into July. And this is actually dates to remember, actually. We're not doing summer camps quite yet. But I will go over some of these things. A lot of things have changed. Some of the things that have not changed right now, you see Pathfinders, guys who cannot go with their troops to a camp activity. Just remember, Pathfinders is a day activity as well. And that's something that we can, you can use that. It's not a troop activity. It's not a group activity, I should say. It's an individual activity. So I know some troops are complying with their charter organization, requesting them to not cooperate or not work as an organization. That's something that you can look at. I'll move on real quickly because I'm talking too much. Scout Show is June 20th, along with the Pinewood Derby. That's going to be the council and the district in the morning and the council in the afternoon. Pinewood Derby is going to be at that time. So you can look at the dates. Probably the most important thing on this is in red at the bottom, all dates subject to change. Updates will be announced via all those other things. So I'll double check with the calendar and we'll try to give notifications to the unit leaders as well as the district executive, Sarah and I will. If we see anything changing, we want to get it out to you guys and get it as fast as we possibly can so you can make adjustments.
All right, thank you. And so my name is Jonathan McGowan, and I want to talk to you about popcorn really quick. So popcorn signups are live for 2020. We're still doing popcorn. That's not going away. It's important that you register your unit because you will get, that'll register you to receive some of the materials that we'll be sending out. Lets us know who to contact, lets us know that your unit is willing to sell popcorn next year. And, you'll get news like the updated product lineup that will be changing in the fall. We'll offer some tips and things like that on what to expect for next year, because As you know, everything is kind of turned upside down right now, and that's going to impact our selling a little bit. But we're right here to help you out as much as we can. There are some exciting changes. We do have some improvements to the app, some more improvements to some of the leader functions as well, and as well as some improvements to the Scout selling, some things that I've heard of so far, and new features that we should be looking out for with that technology as well. So go ahead and sign up. You can click that link right there and go ahead and commit for your unit. Even if you're not the person who is going to be the chair for your unit, even if you're not the chairman for your unit or the chairperson for your unit, go ahead and commit for your unit. That way we have some contact information that we can go ahead and get that ball rolling. You definitely won't want to miss out on the stuff that we'll be sending out this summer. You'll want to go ahead and get all that material so you can go ahead and get somebody prepared for the fall.
Thank you, Jonathan. Next, we have Jay/Sarah. I don't know who's going to do it.
I'll do it. Okay, thank you, Mark. Camp card sales. You see, this is a good description here. This is an example of our, well, let me start over here. Things have changed a little bit because we can't get out and do things like we normally have. So we're not standing in front of Home Depot or Walmart, Lowe's, any of those places right now and trying to sell our cards, which is a very successful thing, and people love the cards, so it's not really a difficult thing to do. Typically, this year, different. So one of the things that we've done is we've designed a process that has a link that goes straight to Tim Taru, and this link is unit specific. So if you're pack 200, then we've got a link specifically for pack 200. We sent that out to your camp card chair, and that is designed to go out to the different people that are in the pack or the troop, whichever unit it is. So what we're asking, there's several different ways you can do that. You can read this real quickly. If you don't have your unit set up with one of these, just let me or Sarah know, and we will get you set one up. It only takes a matter of minutes once we get it to Lee Sykes over at the council office. But we send it to you. You put it on your Instagram. You put it out there. Your people say, hey, well, there's the camp cards. I need a haircut. There's $5 off right there. So I'm going to get this camp cards, and now I'll save a lot of money when I'm doing other things as well. So they click on the link from your Instagram, go straight to Tenaroo, make the purchase. We send it to you free of postage. And then the individual that had that Instagram account, you are required to put the Scout's name that referred you to it in the Tenaroo application. So you'll do that just like you're registering for a camp or anything else that would go on with Scouts. It'll go on there. You will get your money for that camp card sale at the end of the camp sale. So we'll send that card straight to the person who ordered it, straight from the office there. It'll take a couple of days probably just working on the mail system, but it'll go out as soon as we possibly can. So we've got several people already doing this, and they're having some good success with it. So please jump in if you're looking for a way. And this, what is it? I think it takes 75 of these cards to get to Camp Rainy Mountain, 24 of them to go to a summer day camp. So just, you get these done. You can't do it the typical way, but we found another way.
Thanks a lot, Jay. There's a way to do it. Is that Sarah's picture, or are we having somebody else fill in here?
Yeah, that's me.
Okay. That's an early morning shot, right?
Yeah, I woke up like that. So we have our summer day camps. We have some new dates for y'all. Our STEM camp is going to be at Bethel United Methodist, and that's July 7th through July 9th. Our Bethelview UMC camp is going to be at Bethelview UMC July 13th through the July 17th. Our coming day camp is going to be July 20th through the 24th. Jay, is that right? There was extra camps in there, so I got confused. We're still waiting on a date from Dawsonville and North Forsyth to make sure that they are still on track. We're moving them both to July. We'll keep y'all updated at our website, so you can check those out. Next. This is also my slide. We have Scoutland Cub Summer Camp this summer, and the theme is Adventures in Space. What is Scoutland Cub Summer Camp, you ask? This is for Cub Scouts, rising first graders through fifth graders. There's activities for all. First through third graders get to work on their ranks. Fourth graders get to work on electives, and fifth graders get to learn what it's like to do the patrol method. And they get to canoe out to a deserted island on Lake Lanier and live off the land for the weekend. So it's a lot of fun. We have 4 sessions available, and registration is open now.
Thanks a lot, Sarah. Summer camp, Bill?
Absolutely. Unless Jay, you want to chime in on this one? Okay, so we have summer camp happening, and we have a few scheduled changes because of the COVID activities underway. So the first 2 weeks, if you've not been notified or aware of that, the first 2 weeks, if you were allocated toward that, it should have already been communicated to the units, but those first weeks are no longer happening. They've been canceled at this point, and they've actually added a week 8 for an additional the week of July 19th. So if you have not signed up for summer camp but have the opportunity to want to go from a unit perspective, please sign up. And if you are unable to go with your unit, we can also have provisional troops or provisional units at summer camp. We're also going to be promoting that. So definitely take advantage of it. We have a lot of staff members actually from Etowah that are up there. And actually we even have a picture of our own Troop 205 right there in the right-hand corner. So thank you, Troop 205, for providing that photo.
Hey, Bill, just one thing with that. We do have still availability. If you haven't signed up and you're still looking for something, give Brian or me or or Sarah, one of us know. We can help you get lined up with the date.
Awesome.
All right, guys. My name's Howard Chalmers. I'm Scoutmaster for Troop 415, and I am honored to be part of the staff for this year's Wood Badge course. I think most of you know about Wood Badge. It is advanced training for scout leaders, for adult scouters. Unfortunately, we had to delay the course this year. It was supposed to be earlier in the spring. Should have finished up last week, but now we have delayed it to July 24th through 26th and August 8th and 9th. So it's a 5-day course. Over those 2 weekends, still plan to be at Scoutland, and there are still spots available. It was almost full. Only a couple of people have dropped out based on the schedule change, but there are still about 11 spots available. So would certainly encourage all of you to sign up. If you haven't already been through Wood Badge, it is certainly a scouting changing and could be a life-changing experience for you. So highly recommended. Now I'd like to turn it over to to the senior patrol leader for what I believe is the most important program in scouting, which is National Youth Leadership Training.
All right. So National Youth Leadership Training is Scouting's youth leadership training program for all youth 14 to 21. Normally we have 2 courses, so 2 weeks, one at the end of May, one the first week of June. We've had to cancel those and postpone them into this winter. We are only going to be having 1 week taking in place over 2 weekends, kind of how like Wood Badge does it. So the first is going to be the weekend of the November 28th to the 29th, just 2 days. And part 2 is going to be from December 28th to the 31st, so 4 days. On the 31st, you guys, we're going to release everyone early enough so they'll be home before dark, so we don't have to worry about being on the road that late at New Year's Eve. And we're still going to have a course, and that's the important part. So talk to all your scouts, get them involved. We'd love to have them there. So yeah. All right, and then, so I'm also the Vice Chief of Membership for Mowogo Lodge. So our OA update. So for all OA candidates who have been elected in 2020, your nomination has been extended all the way through spring of 2021. So basically an additional year. So if you were elected this February, instead of being good until next February, you go through all of next year's ordeals, if that makes sense. So instead of just being good for 1 year's calendar year, you have an additional year. We've had to cancel both of our spring ordeals this year, but we have made a fall fellowship, which is going to be the only 2020 ordeal option. And that'll take taking place the weekend of September 18th and 20th. Powwow, which is our big get together with activities and stuff, has been postponed until the weekend of Halloween. And then NOAC, which is the National Order of the Arrow Conference, had to be canceled. Normally it takes place at Michigan State University up on the college campus, but they didn't want to have it this year. So it is now going to be at the Summit Bechtel Reserve and now called Momentum. Same week. If you OA people are interested, email me, let me know, it'd be great. And then Luca, our Japetian chapter chief, is going to talk a little bit about virtual elections.
Don't know if Luca's here.
I think Luca got away.
James, can you continue?
I'll talk about it anyways. But yes, so virtual elections. Since we obviously can't be having any in-person meetings as planned, or as we normally do, we are extending it and allowing people to have virtual elections at virtual meetings. So basically the way it works is if a unit is interested in having an election, they will contact Luca, our chapter chief, let them know, and then they'll work together to set up a way to hold a virtual election. They'll have it basically just like normal, and then these candidates can go through and do our ordeal at our fall fellowship in September. So it's a really cool opportunity we have to get a lot of elections done we couldn't be able to normally. So if you're interested in that, please let him know. And yeah, that's it.
Do we have Brett here?
All right, so National Jamboree 2021. It is the BSA's flagship event. Over 40,000 scouts from around the U.S. and some from around the world will come to the Summit Bechtel Reserve in West Virginia. We are in the process of putting together our contingent. There will be at least one male youth scout troop and one female youth scout troop. So please talk to your units and the youth within your units about this event. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. Basic cost is $17.75, and that pretty much includes everything. Food, transportation, activities, largest zip line in North America, all kinds of high adventure activities, stadium shows that are incomparable. Look at some videos from 2017. It's pretty amazing. Or the most recent 2019 World Jamboree that also was at the summit. But definitely look into it. If you are a scout or even an AOL scout right now, the requirements are by the time we get to July of 2021, you need to be at least 11 years old and graduated the 8th grade and no more than 17 years old and 11 and a half months or whatever. Can't be 18 yet unless you're an adventuring crew. So, and you also need to be a first class scout. So work on your rank stuff. Anyway, it's an exciting thing to do. There'll be some information coming out from council very soon about this, including some video testimonials from scouts that have been there as to why they would encourage you guys to come, which is way better than my word for it. But definitely think about it and join us.
So from an Eagle Board perspective, we're virtually there. No, we are virtually there. And we've actually had a phenomenal month in April. We actually have 9 brand new Eagle Scouts that have actually been now a part of the Eagle blessing that we have within the Etowah district. And from that, I put a list of the names for those newest Eagle Scouts. And I also put pictures from some of the Eagle Boards we've had. We actually, we were the first ones within the council to actually start the virtual Eagle Boards. And we actually have had a lot of very positive reviews from that. So to date, we've actually had, from the virtual perspective, we've had 9 Eagle Boards and we've had 3 project reviews. And from that, it's been phenomenal. So we really appreciate everybody contributed, from the Scoutmaster all the way to the volunteers. We've had several volunteers that have helped out with this, and you can see several pictures here to help make that happen. So I wanted to say thank you on that. And that brings us to Cub Scout advancements.
Well, even it has your name on it, I'll talk a little about it. With the Cub Scout advancements, we got to make sure our parents, our adult partners for our youth, are actually working with the Scouts, with the Cubs. They can sign off on the rank advancements. They need to also make sure they're communicating to either the Cub Master or at least the advancement chair as to where everybody stands. We want to make sure the the Cubs get a chance to complete their ranks. Because of all that's going on, we can move this back a little. They don't have to have it. Who knows when school actually ended. So we want to get them done. Try to get them, shoot for the end of June. If there are any issues, let us know. We want to make sure these boys and girls get a chance to achieve the rank before they start on the next one, which is coming right up, whether it's Lions, Tigers, Wolves, Bears, or even our Weeblos. We want to make sure they're moving along and being involved in scouting and active still. Just because they're not meeting together in a group doesn't mean they can't continue to work on their advancements.
And from an opportunity, there's definitely lots of opportunities still to have merit badges. As you can see here, there's a list of several, I think it's about a dozen, that these are merit badges that actually can be performed at home with your units, and that it can be done virtually. So there's actually several units I actually know performing, for example, citizenship of the community and citizenship of the nation. They're actually performing those as unit activities. But what I also did want to give you a heads up is there's also the opportunity for other online merit badge courses. I provide the link right here for the merit badge classes that are being provided by Northeast Georgia Council. There are other councils that can help as well. Not to diminish ours. We're great and we're able to do it. But I also want to provide the opportunity to say there's lots of opportunities to still stay very engaged with the merit badges, and they are approved by the national office. And from the adult leader activities, Neil, would you like to provide any insight on some of the training? What training is available virtual? You're on mute. There you go. You're unmuted. You're good, Neil.
All right. The outdoor trainings have come to a standstill, as you can understand why. We're looking into mid-October before we have another outdoor session to train our leaders on the Blue and the ILS, but there's still plenty of online training. Leaders can sign into My.Scouting and take the training that they need. Of course, youth protection, I'm sure a lot of leaders are going to need that this year. Remember a couple of years ago when we're all required to take that youth protection training. Well, here we are 2 years later, coming up on this year's recharter. Everybody's going to need to be retrained again by the end of the year going into the recharter season. Leader-specific training, it's all online. The basic trainings, merit badge counselors need to take that training online as well. I want to make a special point to Cub Scouts leaders, the pack leaders. If you're going to be taking the Cubs out on an outing where a Blue leader is required to be there, you do need to take the online training, Blue training summary first before you can do the outdoor session. That's come down from BSA National. I guess some of those trainings were getting recorded and leaders were not completing the online sessions. And I guess they were watching that, even though some of us may not have been, but the online session must be completed prior to signing up for an outdoor session. Trying to think what else there might be needed for training. We're going to try and get as much of you trained as we can when we get the go ahead to go outdoors, or we can get the groups back together at classroom, Advance-A-ROM, or whatever else. Maybe even if we have to come to the units and work it out that way, be happy to do so. It's just a matter of getting everything scheduled and getting the okay for us to all get together again. But there's opportunities there. Looking at the numbers throughout the district, we're not moving the needle much as far as leader specific and basic training. Those can go up quite a bit if we just get the online sessions taken care of. Okay.
Now's a great time to do that, right, Neil?
Great time to do it. You know, some of you may still be working full time. Some of you may not be. I've been able to get a lot of stuff done here at home because I'm not doing anything else in scouting. Scouting was my job. So other than doing the Zooms, this, you know, got time to take care of a lot of stuff. Basement's been cleaned out and organized, and landscaping's getting done. So now's the time to do it. Take it away, Bill.
Thank you, Neil.
You're welcome.
So when it comes to leadership, it's all about keeping your/our scouts engaged. Scouting community needs us to help from an adult perspective, needs us even more than ever with the pandemic underway. We're very isolated in many different ways, and it's very important to help drive and make this important that we actually reach out to the youth and make sure that they are doing okay and have that check and balance. Marcia, is there anything you would like to add?
Sure, Bill. Really, we just want to make sure that we keep in mind the importance of the program and keeping the program moving forward. Just because we're not allowed to meet in person anymore doesn't mean, or currently, doesn't mean that there aren't lots of ways to engage as a group and to keep our program moving forward, keep our planning moving forward, and to help keep the kids optimistic. I think it's been really difficult on our youth to hear, the cascades of cancellations and all of the things that they work so hard all year and strive for and, really get excited about. And we as adult leaders need to try to model a positive attitude and a forward thinking in what we can do and what things are still coming up and how to keep working towards those goals. Of course, we have lots of different ways to do that. We, of course, have all of our technology, our Zooms and our WebExes. There are other ways to engage, social media platforms, virtual campouts, anything that you can think of. And sometimes it doesn't even have to be advancement related. It can be social. Just getting the kids together, letting them see each other face to face, we'll call it, and, goofing off online. I know our crew 1109, have continued to hold our meetings. And at the end of our meetings, the adults exit the Zoom and they have group games. They get on Minecraft or they play Mario Kart or whatever it is. And I know I've watched our crew play for 3-4 hours after the unit meeting, and they really kept their cohesiveness together. And I think it's really critical. So anything you can do to keep your scouts engaged like that and to encourage them to keep the bonds that scouting has given them in the first place. And I think that'll help get us through this time.
Thank you. Because back to, I got all choked up over that one. There we go. Got all choked up. The need for adult leadership is needed. It's needed in many different ways. The leadership being able, as Marcia was stating, to reach out to each other. This is a community. Scouting is very much a community. Being able to reach out to each other, irrelevant age. We just talked about the youth. The same is true on the adult side. There's lots of different reasons. We can all be very isolated and say, okay, we have the horrendous, but we also at this point, we need to be the rock. We need to be the rock to be able to provide that stability for the entire program. Not just the program, but also the individuals. I mean, there's one thing to say scouting, but it's also about being the rock for the individual and how we move forward, how we think about what we're working on, be very positive of those outcomes. Yes, positivity is very difficult at times. We're going to be challenged and we're going to continue to be challenged. We have an unknown factor right now with the pandemic. That's okay. It's the opportunity to work within those constraints that actually help us grow. So keep in mind, as we see those challenging opportunities, that's actually the opportunity for growth. So the need for adult leadership, helping out, helping with the units, and we're going to talk about virtual options and opportunities in a few moments, but it's more than ever, we need for you to be able to assist. And I totally understand being busy. I totally get it. Myself, I'm on Zoom calls until 9 o'clock at night. And I start about 9 o'clock in the morning. So I totally get it. We get busy in many ways. Trust me, I'm busier now than I ever was before. But still, the opportunity to reach out, even the way we're doing it right now, it's very meaningful and for individuals, whether we talk about amongst ourselves, amongst scouting, whether we talk about the youth, we talk about our next door neighbors, we can talk about, I'll just use the elderly. They need assistance as much as anything. And try to avoid death by Zoom. Yes, as Neil just identified for us. That was great. Scouting at home. Would anyone like to talk about scouting at home?
We're all there now.
We're all there at home. Well, so this slide actually provides a link to actually information as from Scouting at Home, where you can see more details and from Scouting USA, and it provides the ability, and they give tips and tricks on things that you can actually do as a family and come together. So be able to take advantage of that, have that opportunity. I'll be honest. My wife has seen me more in the last 60 days than she's seen me in the last 20 years. So think about that. And it's about, as a family unit, you're coming together. You're learning how to work with each other. The busyness quotient that we're all used to is not there at the moment. It's there in different ways. But it's also being able to work through things. We all had challenges. We all have many, 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 many challenges. So being able to further drive that, it's going to be very key. And there's lots of different programs and opportunities to be able to look within Scouting on the scouting.org site. Which brings us to virtual meetings. There we go. There we go. When it comes to virtual meetings, there are many, many options here. And on, so you see Zoom, we're used to doing Zoom, and we were talking about death by Zoom. Yeah, we tend to do a lot of electronic type of communications. And you have several options to be able to leverage the media. So if you want to learn about different skills just for presentations and presentation skills, etc., you can leverage several different technologies, see how they work differently. And I do encourage that. Or to even leverage just the conference call functionality if you want to do that via phone. If you want to do phone meetings, you have freeconferencecall.com. The one item that's on here, and I cannot remember the name, there is actually a Google Meet, I believe is what it's called. That is also now available free for everyone. The Google just made that available. So if you have a Google account, a Gmail account, you actually, when you look at your Gmail, you have the ability to also use Google Meet, which is another virtual meeting option that just became available this week, courtesy of Google. Now it comes to example activities. I'd like for some of our speakers here to actually talk about some virtual type meetings that are happening, whether it's Cub Scouts or Scouting. And we know about the round table and Eagle boards, but the Cub Scouts. Mark, I think you're a Scout Master. You're a Cub Master right now.
I'm a Cub Master right now, along with everything else. And we just had Tuesday, our first virtual pack meeting. And it went pretty good for a first one. The next one will be better. Not only had the boys say the pledge and they got a chance to see each other and online, but we actually had an activity for them at the end. They all built paper airplanes, and we all flew them at the same time, and they told us how far they went. We had some that went all the way to California. We had one that went all the way to India. It was amazing how far these boys could throw those planes, but they all had fun, and it was still an activity for them to do. It also gave them a chance to remember, Scouting is not just the one time you meet a month. There's activities you can do all along. But the nice thing when you're doing that, work with your assistant Cub Master and run it through first, plan it out, see who's going to do what part, so that you have a plan as to where you're going. It does make a big difference. And again, the boys had fun. They all got a blast. They definitely carried on the screens.
That's great. Now, question, Mark, are you also doing virtual den meetings in this moment or not yet?
We haven't done virtual den meetings because basically we're running tigers and lions. So no.
Not yet. Oh, no, I was just curious.
So we're a struggling pack that's getting their act together slowly but surely.
You're doing great. You're doing great. Now, keep in mind, I also do know a Cub Master who is he's been doing Facebook Live activities for the entire pack and showing how they could do, for example, doing hikes and for families, so families can go out for hikes. So there are opportunities to leverage technology in different ways, including with Facebook. So if you want to do that, think about that. I know that's been Pack 207. They've been very active on that, and he's been that Cub Master has been very active on that front. So just another idea. And if you want to take a little spin and you don't want to do Zoom, and because those can be available and be recorded and can be available for replay at a later date and be captured on Facebook. Now, when it comes to the Scouts and troops, keep in mind, it's youth led, right? It's not really, It's not talking about, it's not just hearing the Scoutmaster speak, right? It's about having the leaders and having our youth be the leaders and help lead the meetings. So what I'd like to do is actually, I'd like from a Scoutmaster or from a venture crew, or even someone who's been part of a troop, if you guys could speak a little bit about how the virtual meetings are happening within your units, that'd be great.
This is Kathy with Troop 39. We are having our virtual PLC meetings and our troop meetings, and they seem to be going very well. Again, the virtual meetings, our PLC meeting we just had a couple weeks ago and decided what we're doing for the rest of the month, so that when we do have our patrol meetings, that our senior patrol leader knows what's going on, and he is actually being the one to lead the meeting itself. Technology again is our friend at the moment, and sometimes it can be not our friend, but it gives the scouts a chance to truly go with the flow, and most of them know how to do all the technology that we're using, so it's easier for, I would say, our troop. It is kind of gets crazy and very loud at times, but you definitely know how to use that mute button. So, and for online merit badges, again, don't be afraid to have people, if there are merit badge counselors in your troop, or reaching out to other people to say, hey guys, here's the perfect opportunity. We have a lot of scouts getting signed off on a lot of merit badges during this time because they have the time to actually sit down and work on those merit badges. So don't just keep with merit badge counselors in your troop, reach out to others, and help your scouts know that they have the option to do that.
Anyone else? Howard, Marcia, Britt?
Yeah, I can chime in. It's very similar to what Kathy said. I mean, we've had 2 virtual PLCs and 4 troop meetings now, and we've had various activities. We even were able to use the breakout rooms in Zoom and split guys up, have a couple of ASMs in a couple of different rooms focused on rank advancement, things that guys had been working on, like with the backyard camping a couple weekends ago. They had sent in some videos and they wanted to get stuff signed off. So we had them jump into a scout rank breakout room and go through some stuff and talk amongst their peers with some of our youth leaders and adult leaders in breakout rooms with them. And it's been remarkably successful. And we've actually had a couple of weeks, we've had higher participation than our average in-person participation. So we will keep rolling with it as long as we have to, although everybody is really ready to see each other face to face.
That's awesome. Would anyone like to talk about, from a venture crew perspective, how the virtual meetings have been going?
Sure. Marsha already mentioned this, but Crew 1109's been meeting every other week via Zoom. We get the business out of stuff taken care of, and then the youth hang out as long as they want to, stay in the Zoom, and as Marsha mentioned, they play games and hang out together and enjoy fellowship, even if it's at a distance.
Well, that's great. So being able to have those regular meetings, have the youth really enjoy the opportunity to get together, the socialization, that's a great thing. And even for what we're doing this evening with a virtual roundtable. Now keep in mind, for these type of meetings, and this is a bigger meeting, it's not just a troop meeting. These are actually very planned from what you're seeing on the slide deck, the collaboration, et cetera. It's very much, if you need to do something like this, you very much can make that happen too. Just plan it. It's all about being able to make that happen. So from a collaboration, you have that opportunity to make that happen. And that even includes committee meetings, because I believe committee meetings are happening quite a bit too. Okay. Then we talk about advancements that are virtually accomplished. Carol, I believe you would like to walk through this little diagram we have here.
Yes, I found this on the national website. There's a video, a link to the video there. What you can find on YouTube, it's from Scoutmaster Dave. And if you look on YouTube for Scoutmaster Dave, you can subscribe to him. He has a ton of wonderful short videos for every aspect of scouting, whether it's virtual advancement or whether it's how to get the brand new crossover scouts through their first 9 meetings and earn their first rank virtually. So I took a synopsis of what his suggestions were on signing off virtually and having some checks and balances in place. So it starts with the Scoutmaster defining who is eligible to sign off on achievement advances in the troop. And usually, you know, it's in our troop, they have to be star rank or higher to sign off on the younger, lower rank scouts achievements that they do. And they had been doing these in person at their scout regular troop meetings. So now they can do them virtually online with Zoom. You know, what they do have to have 2 deep leadership. So usually the parent is on the Zoom meeting with the scout. And Scoutmaster says, like, for instance, I have Scout Groot here, who is star rank already. And so he is eligible to sign off on Lego Guy, who has just met his tenderfoot requirements. Okay, so when he wants to do advancement, he'll arrange a Zoom meeting with with Scout Groot, okay? And the Scoutmaster will assign Mr. Groot here a code word that will serve as his digital signature, okay? So after this one demonstrates how to tie a specific knot or whatever he needs to do to meet a rank requirement, then this one will say, okay, you demonstrated that satisfactorily. Get out your scout handbook and write on that requirement this code and today's date, okay? Then he will report to the advancement person what he achieved and was signed off on by this guy. And this guy will report to the Scoutmaster what he signed off on for this guy. Okay, so there are checks and balances there. Now the Scoutmaster will have to provide those secret codes to the advancement person as well. So he knows who it was that signed off on that, because you're going to give everybody that's eligible to sign off on ranks requirement a separate code. And so he should maintain a list of those and make sure to give that to the advancement person and make sure to communicate that to each one that is eligible to sign off on those requirements. So that way they can get entered into Scout Book or whatever method you're using for reporting advancement requirements, and hopefully get their next rank advancement either mailed to them, or maybe hopefully we can have a real board of review and court of honor, and presented at the next court of honor. We're doing virtual board of reviews in Troop 205 also, and virtual Scoutmaster conferences, as well as the virtual meetings and the virtual committee meetings. And so they will just mail them or hold on to them till we decide when we're going to get together next time. So if you have a better idea of how you're doing virtual sign-offs, I would love to know, because this sounds kind of complicated. All right, who's next?
Well, thank you, Carol. I really appreciate you going through that diagram and being able to provide some examples on that. Well, brings us to a Scoutmaster's Minute. we wanted to mix up things a little bit on today's roundtable. And we actually do have a guest, a Scoutmaster among us. Mr. French, would you do the honors of a Scoutmaster minute for us?
Absolutely. So actually, some of what we said tonight, actually, you guys did a great job of giving me a segue into the Scoutmaster minute. So tonight we're going to talk about be prepared. What's the Scout motto? Obviously, it's be prepared. And we all know where it came from. It was started by a man that started the Scouting movement just over 112 years ago, and that's Robert Baden-Powell. He was the English general who took the first Scouts camping back in 1907. Those two words also appear on the second class badge that all the youth, hopefully in your troop, have or will wear. I sure hope that some of you have been lucky enough to wear it as a youth, just as I have. The interesting thing is Baden-Powell was once asked what the motto meant. What is a Scout supposed to be prepared for? And his response was, why, any old thing. That's a tall order. Life holds a lot of surprises and we can't be prepared for all of them. Look at the situation we're in today. But in scouting, you're learning how to handle many surprises and crises. You learn how to first aid, or how to give first aid, be safe through e-prep and wilderness survival, how to live comfortably outdoors, give service to your community and nation, clean up your environment, do good turns for people, and a host of other things. Preparing for life is what scouting is all about. For decades, leaders have been doing their best to make Scouts prepared for any old thing in life. As we move forward with the best intentions, often with specific ideas of where we want to go and what we want to achieve, well, then reality strikes. Challenges present themselves and we're forced to adapt. We are not preparing for the world we live in. We are preparing for the world we find ourselves in. The Bible gives us a roadmap for our journey. It's useful to pay attention to Christ's instructions. In Matthew chapter 25, verses 1 through 13, it talks about the parable of the 10 girls. That's where we learn about where they missed the opportunity of the 5 foolish young ladies who failed to bring enough extra oil for their lamps. And Jesus concluded that passage by telling us, watch out, because you do not know the day or the hour. What does be prepared for what? Oops. That doesn't mean always being properly equipped when heading out for a hiking trek, camping adventure, or even participating in routine meetings, or having the 10 essentials with us at all times in our cars, our homes, or work. Does this mean being ready to respond to any emergency, medical, or weather condition by having the knowledge, skills, tools to react properly? Being prepared means being flexible. After all, it's an unofficial 13th point of the Scout Law. That means accepting that we all make mistakes and are prepared to learn from these mistakes and move forward. Scouts always prepared to serve others as Christ has served us. The Scout Oath instructs us to help other people at all times. These are not ideals experienced by only sitting inside a building on Sunday morning, but at all times. We must be prepared for challenges, be prepared to help others, be prepared to emulate Christ through our daily interactions, and mostly to be prepared for the unexpected. Every action to the present prepares us for the future.
Thank you, Mr. French. That was very much appreciated and very timely. So a few other things we do have a couple special guests. I'm going to do some impromptu introductions in a moment as well. But before we get to the special guests, I do have a district challenge for us. And this is a district challenge on our YouTube channel. The goal is to have 100 subscribers by the end of May. Now, keep in mind, this looks very similar to what we did in April. So we didn't quite make it in April. So I'm actually moving on to May so we can have 100 subscribers. And we're doing this because then we're actually able to further communicate when our upcoming events are, make it a little bit easier. Now, this is in addition to our MailChimp, but we will be leveraging YouTube on a regular basis in the future for our roundtables, as well as other communications. So definitely have the link. We're going to post this slide deck as well, so you can actually have it within your unit if you want to share any information. So we'll have it so it's posted. And with that, before we get to the questions, I'd like to introduce a couple of guests we have here. The first one I'd like to introduce is Craig Pett. Craig Pett is actually the president of the Northeast Georgia Council. And Craig, I really appreciate you being here. Would you like to say a few words?
Yeah, I apologize for joining late. I was speaking at another district's roundtable, and when that ended, I joined right over. I love being with your district. I really do like it. And listen, please don't quote me on this. Your roundtable is so much more professional than others. So anyway, high five to you all for that. And thank you for letting me join. Thank you.
Thank you for joining, Craig. No, that was great. Appreciate. The other person, I wouldn't say special guest because we all know him, Cam Sutherland. Cam Sutherland, you're here as being our district commissioner. Would you like to say anything to everyone? And you're currently on mute. You're unmuted. Are you able to talk there, Cam? Not this. I'm not hearing anything there. So maybe not this time. It's one of the few times we get Cam when he's speechless. That doesn't happen. You will get me back for that. I see that. Yeah, for some reason it's not working, Cam. So no worries. But we can't hear you there, Cam. No, I appreciate you being here, Cam. Definitely appreciate it, and we'll make sure we communicate your message through. So we also have a question queue being monitored on YouTube. So we have the opportunity for asking any questions if there are any questions being asked and monitored. We did forget to announce that in the beginning. I will totally take blame for that. But I know Ms. Knox, you are monitoring the question queue. So do we have any questions coming from our viewers?
We are actually not, we don't have any questions at the moment, but I can't get to it. So Sarah is actually monitoring for me because of the issues. But it looks like there's one. Does anyone have any questions on the new council COVID-19 policy?
Does anyone have any questions about the new COVID 2019 policy? That was a question?
Yeah, Craig Pettit is asking if anybody's got any questions out there.
Oh, good point. So on the Northeast Georgia website, there is a COVID-19 policy talking about what we can and cannot do on that. So if there's anyone with any questions, we're more than happy to help answer those at this point in time.
And Craig wanted us to let everyone know that overnight camping at our properties is permitted with some restrictions. So you can still call our camping department if you wanted to hang out at Scoutland or Rainy Mountain or even Rotary.
Excellent point.
I have a question. So the governor says that we can have meetings of up to 10 people maintaining social distance. Would you be able to do such like a den meeting or a patrol meeting if you were able to maintain those social distances?
Well, our policy follows the governor's. I mean, obviously, we're not going to come up with something different. And so the answer is yes. Now, at the same time, our policy says we strongly encourage you to continue to use technology to the extent possible to hold meetings because it's just safer. But the policy also says if it's preferable to have an face-to-face meeting or just, it's important after considering whatever risks you need to think about, then we say yes. But the policy does have a high bar for sanitizing. So like the leader would have to do a heavy sanitization of the facility where people be high touch areas, restrooms, etc. So yes, it is possible. But then if we just ask you to follow the policies, which are derived from the governor's executive order that came out Tuesday on the sanitization standards.
Great, good to know.
Yes.
Any other questions?
Craig, are you coming up on Saturday?
Tom, I am sorry, I am not coming up.
Okay.
Yeah, I know, Bill. I feel the same way. But you and I can have a sidebar and talk about possible alternatives to that.
Okay.
Absolutely. It's a busy time in scouting, even virtually. We're all here. So in closing, as we enjoy our new endeavor, our new way of life, it's important to remember, stay positive with what we do, take every opportunity as a grain of salt, as a growing opportunity. We're all going to have many challenges in many ways. Realize the person right next to you, whether it's your brother, sister, parent, neighbor, whomever it may be, peers, they have the same challenges. And be very supportive of each other as we move forward. And as we do that, think about the Scout Oath and Scout Law and how we apply it even in this dire time. As much as a dire time, it's also a learning opportunity. It's a learning opportunity for us to better ourselves and take servant leadership and those two words to new levels, the levels we've never seen before. Be one of those individuals who are the rock, be able to support each other, be able to go well beyond anything that you can imagine, because you will absolutely not just reach your goal in this, you'll go far exceed it. So with that, thank you for being here. Really appreciate your time. We've actually been doing this now for 60 minutes. That's phenomenal. I appreciate all the presenters who are on today. I appreciate all the special guests. It's been a phenomenal presentation. And keep in mind, this was a joint effort. It wasn't just one person doing it. It actually takes an entire clan to make this happen. So thank you for everybody. Thank you for also volunteering within the Boy Scouts of America. Very much appreciated. Have a good night. And please reach out if there's anything we can ever do.
Thank
Have
you.
a good evening.
See you all in June.
Good night.
Stay well.